Have you ever wondered what happens when good meets evil face to face? Imagine the scene. A man tormented by a legion of demons, living among tombs, terrifying the entire region. In a direct confrontation, Jesus, the Son of God, arrives on the scene. But instead of an epic battle, something unexpected happens. The demons, recognizing the power of Jesus, make a peculiar request. Let us enter the pigs. Why would the demons make such a request? And why would Jesus respond? This is a story of power, redemption, and the inexplicable that challenges our understanding of the supernatural and reveals deep truths about the spiritual realm. Let's dive into this intriguing narrative and discover the answers together. On the shores of the Sea of Galilee, in the region of the Gadarenes, Jesus and his disciples disembark from a boat after a tumultuous crossing. The wind and the waves that had threatened the boat calmed down at the word of Jesus. But the real challenge was yet to come. As soon as they had set foot on land, a man possessed by a legion of demons ran to meet them. This man, whose story was known throughout the region, lived among the tombs, shouting and hurting himself with stones. No one could bind him, not even with chains, for he would break them into pieces. The scene was desolate and gloomy. The graves carved into the hills, the remnants of broken chains scattered on the ground, and the constant sound of the wind creating an atmosphere that made anyone shiver. The people of the region avoided that place, fearing the screams and the superhuman strength of the man. He had become a living legend, a nightmare figure that no one dared to face. The man's eyes, marked by despair and possession, were fixed on Jesus. He fell at Jesus' feet, kneeling down, and with a terrifying scream, the demon spoke through him. "What do we have to do with you, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? Are you here to torment us before the time?" The atmosphere was charged with tension. The disciples, who had witnessed many miracles, were now observing with astonishment and fear. The man, in a deplorable state, was a terrifying sight of how evil can consume someone's life. He was dirty, ragged, with marks of self-inflicted wounds all over his body. His eyes shone with a mix of madness and suffering, and his voice, possessed by multiple demons, echoed with a tone of despair and challenge. But Jesus, with a supernatural calm, addressed the demons and asked, "What is your name?" The answer came in a chorus of frightening voices, "Legion, for we are many." It was a confession of how many evil spirits inhabited that man, an entire legion, causing him indescribable torment. The word legion referred to the Roman armies, suggesting a vast number and a terrifying organization. Meanwhile, the inhabitants of the city began to gather at a safe distance, curious and fearful of what might happen. They knew the destructive power of that possessed man and were skeptical about the possibility of anyone, even Jesus, being able to help him. However, there was a quiet hope, a spark of desire for liberation and peace. The man, still on his knees, continued to scream, the demons inside him writhing and fighting against the divine presence of Jesus. The scene was almost surreal. The absolute terror of the possessed man contrasted with the unperturbed serenity of Jesus. The words of the demons reflected not only their fear of Jesus, but also a profound truth. They knew who he was and recognized his authority. As the possessed man continued to writhe, the situation was about to take an unexpected turn. With the authority that only the Son of God could possess, Jesus was ready to act. The scene unfolded with a palpable intensity. The possessed man, still kneeling, was the epicenter of a spiritual confrontation that few could understand. The demons, recognizing the imminent defeat before the power of Jesus, begged for a way out. "Please do not send us into the abyss," they cried out in despair, referring to the final destination of the evil spirits. There was a herd of pigs grazing nearby, a common sight in that region, and the demons, in a desperate attempt to avoid total destruction, pleaded, "Let us enter the pigs." It was an odd request, and for many it might seem meaningless. However, for the demons, it was a strategy to prolong their existence outside the torment of the abyss. They would rather inhabit unclean animals than face their final destiny. Jesus, with a firm look and full of compassion for the tormented man, consented to the request of the demons. "Go," he said with unquestionable authority. In an instant, the evil spirits left the man and entered the pigs. What followed was a vision of absolute chaos. A herd consisting of about 2,000 pigs went into an uncontrollable frenzy. The animals, possessed by demons, ran towards a nearby cliff, plunging to their deaths in the turbulent waters below. The sound of the pigs screaming and the crash of their bodies hitting the water created a scene of complete disorder and astonishment. The shepherds who were watching over the pigs, witnessing the surreal event, fled to the city and to the neighboring fields. They told everyone what had happened, spreading the news quickly. The people, stunned and curious, began to head to the location to see for themselves. Meanwhile, the man who had been possessed was now free, sitting at the feet of Jesus, clothed and in his right mind. The transformation was remarkable and immediate. From a terrorized and out-of-control being, he had become a living example of the redeeming power of Jesus. The crowd that gathered was amazed, but also fearful. They had witnessed the miracle, but the impact of the loss of the pigs and the demonstration of spiritual power left them uneasy. It was a revelation of divine power that many were not fully prepared to accept. The tension in the air was palpable, but the man's liberation was complete. Jesus had demonstrated his authority over demons and at the same time revealed divine mercy. The request of the demons and their permission to enter the pigs highlighted the invisible spiritual reality, bringing to light profound questions about good and evil and the nature of liberation. With the man now at peace and the demons destroyed, Jesus was preparing for the next step in his journey, while the crowd absorbed what they had witnessed. With the man now freed from demons, peace and sanity have returned to his being. He sat at the feet of Jesus, clothed and in his right mind, a living testimony of the redemptive power of Christ. The crowd that gathered around, made up of city dwellers and fleeing shepherds, watched in shock and wonder. The leaders of the city, upon seeing the man's transformation, also witnessed the destruction of the pigs. For them, the material loss was immense and generated a mix of fear and resentment. Despite the evident miracle, they asked Jesus to leave the region, unable to fully comprehend the significance of what had occurred. Jesus, respecting the request of the locals, began to prepare to depart. The man who had been freed begged to follow him, wishing to stay close to the one who had given him new life. However, Jesus, with a look of compassion and wisdom, said, "Go home and tell everyone what God has done for you." With these words, Jesus revealed an even greater mission for that man, to be a living testimony of the power of God in his own community. The man, now full of gratitude and fervor, obeyed. He returned to the city and began to tell his story, sharing with everyone the kindness and power of Jesus. As Jesus and his disciples boarded the boat again, leaving the shores of Galilee, the news of the miracle spread quickly. The man, once possessed by a legion of demons, became an ambassador of divine grace. His life an undeniable proof of the victory of good over evil. Little by little, the community began to reflect on what had happened. The impact of the loss of the pigs was overcome by the evident and powerful transformation of man. Your story of redemption touched many hearts, challenging them to reconsider their own beliefs and to open their hearts to the message of Jesus. Jesus, as he moved away from the shore, left behind a region that would never be the same. His presence and transforming power echoed in the lives of those who witnessed the miracle, and the mission of the liberated man continued to spread the light of truth and hope. In this outcome, we see not only the liberation of a man, but the beginning of a movement of faith and transformation. The authority of Jesus over demons and his compassion for the tormented man highlight the depth of his love and power. The story of the pigs and the possessed man in Gadara remains a powerful reminder of the battle between good and evil and the ultimate victory of good through divine intervention. The story of the possessed man and the pigs in Gadara is a narrative rich in lessons and profound symbolism. By freeing the man from the legion of demons, Jesus not only demonstrated his supreme power over the forces of darkness, but also revealed God's immense compassion and mercy. This story reminds us that regardless of how deep our suffering is, or how much we may be dominated by evil, there is always hope and redemption in Jesus. The man whose life was consumed by torment was completely transformed by the presence of Christ. He went from a state of utter despair to an existence of peace and purpose. Furthermore, the demon's request to enter the pigs and the subsequent disaster that befell the animals highlights the reality and impact of evil in the physical world. Jesus' permission for the demons to enter the pigs may seem enigmatic, but it serves to show the inevitable self-destruction of evil and the final liberation that comes with divine intervention. The reaction of the inhabitants of the city also offers us an important reflection. Many times, the presence of divine power can cause discomfort and fear, especially when it confronts our material securities and limited conceptions. However, it is precisely in those moments of discomfort that we are invited to open our hearts to deeper transformation and truth. The freed man, upon returning to his community and telling his story, became a beacon of hope and a living testimony of the power of God. His mission to share what God has done for him highlights the importance of witnessing our own journey of faith and redemption, inspiring others to seek the same grace and liberation. Ultimately, the story of Jesus and the pigs in Gadara is a powerful reminder of the ongoing battle between good and evil, and the assured victory of good through divine power. Jesus, in freeing the possessed man, demonstrated that no force of evil can prevail against the authority and love of God. May we carry this message of hope and transformation with us. In the midst of life's challenges and turmoil, let us remember that there is always a path to liberation and peace in Jesus. May we be, just like the man from Gadara, living witnesses of God's grace and redeeming power, spreading the light of truth and hope wherever we go. We hope this story has touched your faith in some way. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. Until the next word of faith, and may God bless you.